Still talking about the elections in Imo State, we now have joining us Ni Omoni, our correspondent who has been on ground in Imo State, giving us the updates for a while now. Ni, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, what exactly would you say is the latest update in the state currently in terms of preparedness and security, looking at how the elections is just less than 24 hours away?
Okay, so I'll split these into three different parts, the electorate, security, and of course INEC. I'll start from the electorate. Now it's just 9 minutes past 8 here in the state capital of Imo, which is Owerri. And contrary to other states where, you know, a day before election or a few hours before election, activities will have been grounded to almost halt, petrol stations shut down, businesses shut down. This is a major area now in the state capital. This is called control. And as you can see, it's almost like tomorrow is just going to be a normal day. Activities are basically ongoing. The parks are filled with buses. We could attribute it to, you know, last minute rush, people trying to locate, go back to their various destinations. And even on my right here, you can see traders still selling, irrespective of maybe what the time is as compared to what we would have in various states when they are doing their own what they're preparing for the gubernatorial election. Now, from what you can hear on the street as well, we've heard people speak about how prepared they are. We've heard people speak about the fact that they need to exercise their franchise. However, there is tension and of course there is fear. Interestingly, we're able to confirm this night that Imo State had not had power supply for over a week, which means that people have been, hotels, lounges have been running on alternative power, even for solar energy for a while. And the implication this might also have will be that when the election starts tomorrow, some people might not have access to information to know what is happening in other areas. Is this strategic? There's so many questions to be asked about that. Now let's move to the security angle. Enough security operatives have been deployed for this election alone, both in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo. But Imo specifically, the deployment of security forces alone has created some sort of tension. Yes, while the police, while security operatives can guarantee that, yes, they guarantee that there's going to be safety, and in fact, the riverine areas, the local areas, they're going to be gunboats provided, to be adequate security. There are going to be like 3 phases of deployment for police officers to various units. Now, in polling units, there are going to be police officers who are not armed. Outside the polling units, there will be police officers who are armed just to create some sort of cover for those police officers. Then, for the community at large, there will be extra police officers that will be on patrol. Now, that is the sequence, and that's the plan for security architecture for this election. And this is all in a bid to ensure that there is safety during the election. Now, let me come to the electoral umpire, which is INEC. So far, we've monitored deployment of non-essential materials to various local governments. We even went to the INEC office today, and we could see them putting finishing touches to movement of personnel, sorting out logistics with vehicles tagged with various local communities they will be heading out to. We also visited some of the local governments, and we can attest to the fact that they've received some of these non-essential materials, and they started charging the beavers, things like the voting booth, the cubicle for the voting booth, some documents, and so many other things they would need. In fact, the ADOC staff were brought to the chocolate for the last time, and we know that the ADOC staff have been trained 2 weeks even before now, so we're checking their names to ensure that they have been picked and to know how movement will be done for them to go to their various communities. Now, these are the places that are three subcategories that are involved in this election. But as I said earlier, one of the interesting facts will be the fear that is already ongoing in town based on the deployment of officers, and of course the fact that there is no power supply, so communication is kind of uneasy.
All right, Ni, that seemed like quite a bit of a challenge, but please hold that thought. I'm going to come back to you. In the meantime, we're also going to be joining Bettina Nweli, one of our correspondents in Kogi State, Lokoja precisely, who has also been covering the elections preparation. Bettina, good evening. Can you hear me? Bettina, please confirm you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. Blessings.
All right, Bettina, what is the level of preparation like in Kogi State currently?
Yes, I can hear you. Blessings. Good evening. Well, like I said earlier, the preparations in Kogi State, I would say, are really on top of the game, especially when it comes to INEC. We are currently at the INEC local government office, and all materials have been deployed. As you can see, the premises is empty already, and it was done in good time. And when I say good time, I say that because we've been here since 5 p.m., and as at the time we got here, every material had been deployed. Security agencies and personnel too had followed suit. All the buses that were previously in front of the offices to deploy these materials have also gone. So I want to believe that come tomorrow morning, everything in Kogi State will be in order.
All right, Bettina, now you did mention the deployment of INEC material in good time, and that's going to take me to my next question. Nii, I'm coming back to you. What is, in terms of INEC preparation, already there's this level of distrust, for INEC officials because of what has happened in the past. But talking about deploying materials now, are they very prepared? Because, we wouldn't like to see a case of disenfranchisement where people cannot vote because the materials didn't come in on time, they didn't start on time, and then they had to end early. So in terms of preparation by the INEC, from their own angle, are they ready with the materials and all of that? Well, Bettina, it's good to know that the INEC materials were, sent out in good time.
Sorry, come again. Clearly.
All right. I was just saying it's good to know that the materials were sent out in good time. But in terms of security, Bettina, how prepared would you say that Kogi State is? Have you seen the deployment of security agencies to different areas of the state?
Absolutely. If you come out on the streets of Lokoja now, for every 4-5 streets that you go, you see security personnel patrolling. And also, since yesterday, we've had security helicopters that go from time to time. If I'm to give a timing, I would say maybe every 20-30 minutes, you will see a helicopter hovering around the sky. And that is also a security helicopter that has been hovering around the state since Wednesday when we got here. So I think that the security, they are on ground and they are ready to work. And like I said earlier, we really hope that all of these preparations that have been made in Kogi State will be able to suffice whatever, surprises that we happen to face tomorrow.
To you, Nii, first of all, can you please confirm that you can hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, great. We're talking about the, sending out of INEC materials and leading it to how there has been a level of distrust since the last elections. We all know about that. How prepared would you say that INEC is in terms of distributing these materials and making sure that no one person is disenfranchised come the day of the election?
Well, if we want to speak about distrust, the truth is here in Imo State is deep. It's very, very deep, and even it's pre-election matters and pre-election conversations. In fact, we remember that on Tuesday, the meeting INEC, the APC, Labour Party, and PDP had. And in fact, the Labour Party and PDP were calling for the redeployment of the National Commissioner of INEC as at that time. So, although they were able to come to some sort of conclusion, and the National Commissioner of INEC
electoral person is the one speaking currently. If we have to look at preparedness and not other controversial issues we're talking about here, we would say from our own assessment that they are prepared and they are doing their utmost best to ensure that this election is free, fair, and of course it's done in an orderly manner. Because every necessary step they're supposed to take, they've been able to take it. Materials have been deployed successfully. In fact, they
today when we got to one of the, I think the Owerri Municipal Council headquarters today, you could see detailed numbers and figures being issued out as to what is going to what locality and what we will need in that locality. In fact, one of the officials couldn't grant us audience because he was so busy and engrossed in the fact that it was detailing those things. So here, on their own part, we can say from our own assessment, they are prepared. But this is not the first time we're seeing them gel like this. Not the first time we're seeing them put in all this work. But tomorrow will really be the report card, where the report card will come up. That's where the real assessment will come. All this preparation will not amount to anything if, as at the time, accreditation and voting is supposed to commence at various polling units, they are not there or they are there, then I think they can be rated properly.
To you, Bettina, looking at Kogi State's population, Lokoja especially the state capital, we see that the population can be controlled. It's quite controllable. It's not exactly out of hand, but that's not to say that there is no possibility of violence. Yesterday when we spoke to Marvelous Obumanu, who's also in Kogi State, he did mention that they haven't exactly recorded any level of violence so far. But has there been any eruption since you got there? Has there been any disputes, argument, or do you think that everyone has one specific candidate, as their interest for the elections?
Well, Blessings, I would say that different people have different candidates for their own interests, but regardless, we haven't seen any disputes in that regard. However, earlier on, the spokesman of the Kogi Police Command, SP William Aya, has already put out a notice telling all commuters, people that want to go through Kogi State, that there will be a curfew from 12 midnight today till 6 p.m. tomorrow, so people should find alternative routes. And now that is because of the controlling of the security in the state, that they are trying to make sure that no outsiders come in to cause mayhem or havoc. So I would say that regardless of the different parties and the different people that people are rooting for, it still seems very calm. We haven't had any reason to, fear that there will be any kind of upsurge or insecurity. We're not saying that cannot happen, but for now, everything seems calm, and the security agencies seem like they are in control of Kogi State right now.
All right, thank you, Bettina. Back to you, Nee. Yesterday, we were also talking to Bennett, who is currently in Bayelsa State. We're asking him about the possibility, because now we're in a generation where we get a lot of misinformation, disinformation, false information, fake news online on social media. And then there has been, I think, a letter sent out, a letter of warning by the Bayelsa State government asking people to beware of that. Has there been anything similar to that in Imo State?
Blessing, I'm laughing because I said earlier that there is no power supply. So how do you even charge up your electronic device to even stay abreast of information you need? There's no power supply. People are running alternative power like the generators or something else just to try to get information. So the aspect of dissemination of information, misinformation or fake information might not really spread here like wildfire as it will be a normal day, because communication has to be put a little bit because some people decide to get their electronic devices and of course look at availability to be able to know what is happening in their own state. But I would say as compared to other states, there's just a lot of reduction because communication has already been impeded due to the lack of power supply in the state.
The possible consequence of that, Nee, on the election?
Very huge lessons, because one I could think of is the fact that residents who were kept, because we were speaking to some residents earlier here, and they were mentioning that they need to know what is happening in communities around them, especially in areas where they say the person can pick up order. They need to know what is happening in communities around them. That will inform them to know, okay, you know what, if you said go out there and vote. But now that they might not have power supply to even track their phones, to even check on the web, to even listen to watch their TV, to get information of what is happening in the nearest locality, the nearest local government. Now, this might further impact voter apathy. And let's put this out there. This is the state with a population of about 5 million people. And the registered voters for this year is just 2.4 million. Now, if any form of voter apathy continues or is further entrenched in this exercise, then we will be seeing very low turnout. That is one. Another part will be for the INEC officials. I want to believe that they have enough alternative power to power their devices. But if voting
commence or continues into the night, then we start thinking of, is there going to be adequate fuel to power those alternative means of like generators?
Okay.
Because there are some polling units that we see that they have more people than others. So those are some of the concerns. That
all right, Nee, thank you so much for that. We're losing your audio a bit there, but we did get the information, and we really do hope that that is remedied on time. A big thank you to Nee, Nimo State, and of course Bettina, who is joining us from Kogi State. We'll definitely be looking forward to getting more information from these states and the other states from now on. Thank you so much once again. Now, wait.